Pregame.com.
Denver +1 at Minnesota, Sunday NFL. Oh, Lordy, I was thinking about you Sunday.
Tebow.
All right, so if we were on ESPN or something, we would have, let's go to the sound, and we'd hear, and I'll do the imitation, and again, my imitation is just, I'm not an imitator, so I'm trying. If Tebow is able to beat the Chargers, now this is Marco talking. If Tebow is able to beat the Chargers, then I'll finally give him some credit. Look into the camera.
Tim Tebow is making the Denver Broncos a better team. And it's not for the reasons...
You sound like Nixon when he was resigning.
I am not a crook. They're buying into him, okay? The team is playing...
Which is what I said last week.
Chemistry in sports is huge, okay? And I am not going to sit here and argue that right now there isn't a team with better team chemistry than the Denver Broncos.
So do me a favor, Dustin. We got a candid shot of Marco after let's put it up over this description. Go ahead.
Okay. They are playing team football. They're buying into it. What's really made the Broncos a better team is at the beginning of the season, their defense was horrible. Now, obviously, they've got the Defensive Rookie of the Year. I mean, I think he's a lock, hands down, with Von Miller. But
now, we're taping on Wednesday. You can take the picture. We're taping on Wednesday. I heard just today a thumb problem. What are you hearing on him?
You know what? I didn't see the updated injury report.
Okay, so guys, that's the thing about these videos. We do them early so you have a chance to watch them. But injury-wise, that's something that, clearly you're going to want to check out the Game Time. Personally, my favorite site, and we have no affiliation with them, Roto World. Rotisserie guys usually are obsessed with injuries, and of all the ones out there, and again, I'm no expert with rotisserie stuff, but rotoworld.com usually does a really good job. But go ahead.
They do. And just to give a plug on people to get information too, Twitter is so good these days. If you follow the beat writers,
and that's the trick, is identifying but in a way, that's where you can lose 45 seconds or 90 seconds. But a site like RotoWorld does it for you, and then you can sort by. You can go in and say, "Show me a certain team," and they give you a chronological update. And oftentimes, I don't know, it seems like almost half the time the source is Twitter, where they actually source where the stuff comes from. So what I'm hearing you say is pretty much what I said last week. Hey, it's not so much that Tebow is doing it on the field, though. Let's question that for a second. Maybe it's not sustainable, to go back to Steve Young's word. Maybe he's going to get hurt, but we're not really worried necessarily about him getting hurt in 5 games or next year, or he won't last more than a couple years taking this beating. Yeah, maybe the odds of him being hurt this week are higher than the average quarterback, but still our odds are against it. Right. The odds are pretty good Tebow is going to finish this game. So if what he's doing running the ball, if running this option, whatever it's called, is working, even if it's not sustainable, how do you handicap that for this game?
Well, I'll get to that in a second. One last point that I want to make that not enough people are talking about is one of the reasons it's making Denver better is they have flipped time of possession since Tebow's become the quarterback. And when you can run the ball and you can chew up some clock and you keep your defense off the field, that's always going to make your defense better. And, I mean, we're Pittsburgh guys. We know, from the glory days of the Steelers, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, one of the things that made the defense so dominating is the defense was always fresh. The defense wasn't on the field for long periods of time, and they got to rest for long periods of time because the Steelers had
sounds like you're making the case the Broncos are a good team.
The Broncos, they're doing it well right now. Now, here's the thing. We're going to talk about this week, and we got to handicap situations. First off, and you hear me use the phrase John Q. Public all the time. Right now, John Q. Public is in love with Tim Tebow, and how can they not? The guy's been phenomenal. He's won 5 out of 6 starts. You have to look at that. But I'm looking at this game, and they're playing a 2-9 Minnesota team. And if I'm John Q. Public, and I look and I say, okay, Denver's won 5 out of 6 with Tebow. They beat Oakland on the road. They beat Kansas City on the road. They beat the Jets at home, and they beat San Diego. And San Diego was a division game. They should have no problem with a 2-9 Minnesota team. And then I look at the line. Minnesota, without Peterson, is a 1-point favorite. You're just asking Denver to win. You're not, if they beat all those other teams are presumably better than Minnesota. They should have an easy time this week. This looks trappy to me.
All right, so let's talk about Peterson for a second. Is what we do at VegasRankings.com is we take 4 or 5 of the biggest names in Vegas, get their power rankings, and give them to you. And what we do is talk about injuries each week so people can use the rankings. Peterson, the consensus was worth 1.5 points. So in theory, it'd be minus 2.5 with Peterson. So that's interesting there. But let's talk about a trap game. So just for new listeners, trap game is it's too good to be true. They're making you say, hey, you could just pick the winner. Denver's the better team. And thus you think it's the books with an opinion wanting that Denver action. So you want to be on the same side as Minnesota. Okay, that makes a little bit of sense to me. Otherwise, I guess if it's a trap game, that can be the handicap. It can be this line's too good to be true. I'm going to fade it. Is there anything beyond that?
Well, if you go to traditional handicapping, we've always said, now, Denver's in a playoff hunt. We never thought we would be saying that a month ago, but they are in the thick of the playoff hunt with the Oakland Raiders. And the Oakland Raiders are playing a game this week. They're 1 game behind them, but the Raiders are on the road playing Miami, who's playing good ball right now. Miami, after starting the season with all those losses, won 3 in a row and then went to Dallas and looked as good as you could possibly look in losing on Thanksgiving Day. So if they win this game and Oakland loses, they're tied for first place. Here's the thing. I've talked about there's certain games that mean more on a schedule. Outside of the playoff race, which obviously this makes that important, this is the least important game.
Yeah, I agree with that. But the thing is, it's a Tebow factor again. Any other quarter, do you really think they're going to be flat?
They're coming off a division win, big division
win. That's what I'm saying.
Win.
You're applying normal handicapping.
And Tebow is not normal.
That's what I'm saying. So that was one of my points. And another point is that one of their big problems, in theory, though we haven't seen it yet, is Tebow's going to have trouble playing from behind, at least. I don't know who plays well from 17 down, but, I guess, Brady does okay, but, clearly not all that often. What's the Pittsburgh stat? It's been like 25 years since the team has come back from 11 points at any point in the game against them.
Right.
Maybe that's been beaten once now, but, no one plays well from behind. But even assuming that, in a pick'em game, a lot less likely they're going to be behind.
There is one other factor that's going to be something new, this week. Tebow's going to be playing in a dome, and it's, granted being in a running game, and he's the guy doing the running as much as the running backs, so it's not as big a deal, I think, with all of the audibles and stuff as you would in the passing game where, you're audibizing for, guys to change blocking schemes and stuff, but still, it's going to be different. This is a scenario, everything is a negative to Denver from traditional handicapping. And again, you made the point. Tebow's not traditional. You got a team playing on the road after a big division game. You got a team playing on an opposite surface. They're playing, in the Metrodome. You've got them playing, inside. Everything
I haven't heard the old grass turf for a long time. This is back in the 80s, man.
This is a situation where traditionally, I would be looking at Minnesota. Again,
the line, and in this case, you want to look not only because that traditional stuff is, you're saying it's a trap.
I think that anybody that's watched Tebow play for the last 5 weeks, they're going to look and say, Minnesota's 2-9. This is the one that they're supposed to win.
Yeah.
And whenever you're supposed to win, and the line is 1, to me, it's too comfortable. And one of the words to use, and you say when a line looks too easy, that's one way to word a trap. Another way to word it is if it's too comfortable to walk up to the window and place the bet when it's just, you don't even have second, sometimes you second guess yourself when you're right at the window. You don't second guess yourself with this one. And it bothers me. I think Minnesota lines up in the trap category.
So when you're at like a food festival and, what's some of your favorites in town?
Well, The best is the San Gennaro Italian Festival. They have it twice a year. I think they started a second time once I moved. I'm not sure about that.
How many plates of food do you typically get? Let me guess, because I've seen you at festivals. 5?
I like to, you know, I'm there a while. I'm there a while.
Do you have that same kind of doubt at the window? Should I have the sausage or should I get the...
Well, that's not a trap because they're both good. I want to try them all. That's, you know,
give us your projection.
I'm going to take Minnesota here. Sorry, Tim Tebow and the rest of Tebow Nation. Minnesota 20-17. And let's see what happens.
We'll be back next week. We're going to do, as long as Tebow starts, we're doing video. All right. Oh, one thing, and it's nice because you talked about the trap stuff. Marco does a daily SoundCloud, it's called. It's just an audio file that he puts into the forums. So you can just go to pregame.com, click forums, puts it up every day. You call it the first look, and you spend, 5, 6, 7 minutes breaking down what he's seeing when he looks at the card that day. And Marco's approach with the whole psychology of both the teams and the bookmakers, and that's how the traps come from.
And public perception.
Public perception. Very insightful stuff. Check it out. It's 100% free. All right, guys, remember, all of our videos are in a special super thread. You can get there directly, pregamevideos.com, in which the people put their notes in. All the participants put their notes in. They will answer any and all questions. It's just like you're here, except there's a little bit of a delay. Check that out, pregamevideos.com. Talk to you there.